Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe SI Talk. Wir nähern uns ja der heißen Phase, der heißen, für mich heißen Goldphase. Und da passt es sehr gut, dass ich heute ein Interview habe mit Newcore Gold. Vorab gleich Conflict of Interest. Ich bin Aktionär, habe auch gerade meine Warrants ausgeübt und bin ein glücklicher Aktionär. Aber da können wir gleich mehr darüber sprechen. Look, thank you for your time. I said I have a conflict of interest. I'm a shareholder. I'm a happy shareholder, especially when I look at the last 6 months or something. So since February, the share price is really running great. Before, I must say, it's like a depression like all the other stocks, gold stocks, but you're doing really great the last 6 months. Not all gold stocks doing well, and this surprised me a little bit. You see that still a lot of people are not believing in this gold market, but I'm a strong believer, and especially with the new results when the big companies will announce the second quarter results end of July and August. I think with this, and this must be great results. A lot of maybe fresh money will flow in our sector, and then we really see then the big hopefully uptrend in the gold sector. But you're doing really great. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more why you are doing so great. We know exactly from the previous interview you're working in Ghana. You have a really great, interesting gold belt, or you're working in an interesting gold belt. They have a few big mines in this gold belt. You have another big one. But tell us a little bit what was really the reason why the share price is going so up in the last few months.
Yeah, well, I think firstly, thanks for having me on. And then I guess secondly, also need to highlight that management and board of Newcore also have a conflict. You know, we own 21% of the company. This is stock that we've bought alongside investors over the last number of years. So we truly are aligned from that perspective. And similar to you, we're ultimately shareholders of the business. And as a result, we're truly motivated to see it succeed. I mean, I think you highlighted that our project is situated in Ghana. It's on a district scale. It's a district scale exploration and development project. One of the things that has helped with the share price performance over the last few weeks is the fact that we put out a PEA, which had very robust economics. All of the work that we've been doing over the last few years got reflected into that PEA. One of the things that we've talked about is, yes, the markets have been difficult over the last few years. A number of companies at our stage have been undercapitalized, and as a result, haven't been able to do the kind of work on their projects that we've been able to do over the last few years. We've got strong institutional backing, 45% institutionally owned. So we've been able to continue to work on the project, de-risk it over the last few years. And that's culminated in a PEA that we put out that had extremely good economics. If we look at that PEA at an $1,850 gold price, you're looking at an after-tax NPV of $371 million, after-tax IRR of 54%, and a 1.6-year payback. So those are very strong economics for any project. And when you look at that compared to our market cap today of about, call it $45 million US, we're trading at just over 0.1 times the NPV of the project. So I think what the market saw is obviously a project that was fundamentally undervalued. We've seen an initial re-rate to where, we're trading today, but we still see a tremendous re-rate coming in the stock as the company or as the market continues to price in the value of our project today. Mm-hmm. When we then look at it at a $2,350 gold price, so in and around where gold is trading today, I mean, the numbers are just spectacular. you're looking at an after-tax NPV of 632 million. Again, that compares to a $45 million market cap today. You're looking at an after-tax IRR of 92% and just over a 1-year payback. So we see a fundamental re-rate, that's going to continue over the next number of months as the market prices in, the true value of our entry project and what we outlined within that PEA.
What I found a little bit surprising is that you need only 106 million on initial capital. So this is especially for this size of project, and also the potential is really low. Is this only that you're looking on the oxide side, or why is the number so low, I must say?
Yeah, it's a great point. So what we've outlined within the PEA is a very simple, straightforward, open pit heap leach project. So one of the advantages, as you would know, of a heap leach project is it's much lower capital to build. You're not building big ball mills and sag mills and tailings dams. So a lot of the capital that goes into a CIL plant, we obviously don't need to spend that capital because it is a heap leach project. So that's one of the real advantages. We were also able to push about 60 million, $58 million out to years 4 and 5, because the near surface material that we've got within the oxide and transition material is essentially free digging material. So we put it through a jaw crusher, but we don't need to put secondary crushers in place. So that pushes some of the capital out. So all of those things obviously help with the overall economics of the project. I think it's also important to highlight that the consultant that we worked with on this, who led the study, is a group called Lycopodium. You and a number of your viewers will know Lycopodium. They're really the gold standard in Africa for putting these types of studies together. If you look at the last dozen odd projects that they've been involved in from a study and construction perspective, they've either all been on time or ahead of schedule, on budget or under budget. So we obviously leveraged all of that experience and to put into our updated study. So, investors and the market can really stand behind the numbers that we outlined within this economic study. And we haven't had any pushback in terms of what we've presented to the market. So again, that fundamental re-rate that we expect, is partly because of how robust the economics are, but also, the groups that we worked with to put these numbers together.
Mm-hmm. But this means also that the PE is also only looking for this oxide material, transition material. So normally this belt has this underneath, there's a sulfide body. So this is only I would say the sweet pot of the project, but underneath here is the monster normally. When you look at other in your district, like
Tirano and Bibiani,
yeah, Bibiani and so on.
Hafo mine.
Yeah, and that is more the sulfide mine. But you start with this one and the big one, and the really big one with maybe millions of ounces or so comes later. And this is a great start point, I must say. But it's not the end. It's not the end.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. So one of the really nice things that you get with Newcore is optionality. So what we've outlined within this PEA is obviously a very robust project that we see a fundamental re-rate of the company and ultimately the stock price as the market prices it in. But beyond that, we've got a district scale exploration project. All of our deposits not only remain open at depth, but also along strike. So systematically stepping out, adding near surface ounces to ultimately extend mine life is something that we'll focus on. But if you look at the average vertical depth of the pits that constrain our resource today, they're only down to an average of 75 meters. If you look at Chirano and Bibiani and Newmont, those are 5 million to 20 million ounce endowments or resources. Those projects are, mining all the way down to kind of 800-900 meters below surface. They've drilled down to 1.2 kilometers. So for us, our project, the resource currently sits within 75 meters of surface. So, they're currently mining at 10 times the depth of where, our resource is constrained today. So that's one of the opportunities that we're obviously excited about in the mid to longer term, is the ability to obviously bring those ounces into production over time, as well as continue to make these higher grade discoveries across our project. So, that optionality of putting what we've got today into production and the fundamental re-rate that comes with that. But beyond that, there's huge district scale exploration across our project.
That brings me to your newest press release, the new drill program. Is this more looking for the oxides part, or is it more looking then for the sulfide part too, so that the investors maybe see that you have much more?
Yeah, so we've announced a 10,000 meter drill program, and that's really going to be focused on a combination of both of those things. Obviously, we see, lots of exploration upside, so we're going to continue to step out, look to grow the overall ounces on our project. But then beyond that, we want to start moving this towards a construction decision. So part of that will be infill drilling to ultimately de-risk the ounces, to then, wrap a PFS around it and put it into production. So, focusing on both of those elements of our project is what that initial 10,000 meters will be focused on.
You come to a great point. That's mean that you can make a production decision. So 106 million is not so much. What you can do also with your market cap. For sure, it's a high dilution. For sure, you can some parts you can make with that and so on. But what is your vision? Is it the way that you go alone and bring this to production? What is more? And 100 million is not really big numbers. It is a big number, but it's not really a big number that is not possible for your company. Or is it more that you're looking for a partner and bring this together with a partner in production? What is more your more idea? What is the idea?
Yeah, so I mean, ultimately, as you highlight, it's not a huge amount of capital to put into production. Again, it's a relatively straightforward project that our team, can put into production, and that's what we're focused on. Inevitably, what we see often happen is as you de-risk and continue to de-risk the project and move it towards a, production decision, someone comes along and makes an offer for the company, and at that stage, we take that to our investors and see what they ultimately want to do. So, we are focused on putting this into production. But if someone comes along and makes us an offer, then my job as CEO and the management team is to ultimately take that to our investors. What we've seen is, as projects get fundamentally de-risked towards a PFS and FS stage, the valuation typically increases through that period. And, at that stage is when you see offers for the company often come in. So, we will continue to progress it towards production. If someone comes along in the meantime, then we would ultimately take that to shareholders.
Okay, yeah, it's understandable. You never can, but I really see that if really the second quarter results by the big companies are really great, they are not really active on the market for M&A and looking for new resources and so on. So, but if they are really coming this M&A mode, so that maybe you then one of the logical targets, I must say. So
yeah, I mean, I think just in general, from an M&A perspective, if you look at Africa, we've seen a lot of M&A. I mean, obviously, we've had Osino, who's had a bid from Yintai, which was a competitive bidding situation between Dundee and then Yintai coming over the top. You've had OreCorp, which again was a competitive bidding situation. You had Silvercorp and then Perseus come over the top for that. You've had Tieto that recently just got taken out. We've also seen lots of M&A in Ghana with Chifeng coming in and buying Golden Star as well as Cardinal. So I think Africa is an area that there's lots of desire to buy and build project. And the reality is the number of projects that are actually still available in Africa has been shrinking. And part of the reason for that is because of the underinvestment that we've seen in the overall sector over the last few years. I mean, if you look at our Enchi project in Ghana, specifically, it would be the second or third most advanced project in the entire country that isn't currently in construction. So again, you've got 5 million ounces of production in Ghana, but then there's a dearth of projects that are currently at a PEA or an FS stage. So, one of the opportunities we see is obviously, to move our project towards that construction decision and ultimately be the next cab off the rank in terms of putting it into production. So we're very nicely strategically positioned from that perspective. In terms of your comment that you've made a couple times now about, Q2, I mean, I couldn't agree more that, we're just about to end Q2 here, and I need to look up the average gold price, but, we're going to be north of $2,300, I think, in terms of the average gold price for Q2. If you look at the average gold price in Q1 of this year, it was around $22,070. So call it under $2,100. That additional, $250, $300 of margin is ultimately going to fall directly to the bottom line. If we look at a lot of the Q1 results that came out, the other thing that a lot of the mid caps and majors were starting to highlight for the first time is costs stabilizing. And in some cases, costs actually starting to go down. So really that extra $250 of margin is going to lead to real margin contract or margin expansion, which ultimately, falls to the bottom line and should result in some tremendous earnings for the companies in Q2, which then, in my view, will bring, a lot of investors back to the sector because they see that true cash flow generation that the sector is providing. So I think your comment about Q2 is a great one, and inevitably buying ahead of that, I think, could be an interesting way to play the potential move that's to come.
And I hope that a lot of new investors come in. I see the biggest problem in our sector is, in the resource sector, is that we have not really fresh blood. We need this fresh blood that we can drive the share price higher. So 80% of all the investors, 90% of the investors come in from the sector. And with the second Q2 results, I hope that a lot of outside people see this value we're sitting here in this sector and hopefully come a little bit over. So, but my last question is timing. You say 10,000 meters of drilling, you say de-risking, you say production decision. So which time frame we talking about?
So we've announced the 10,000 meters of drilling, so we'll get drilling in the next few weeks here. We are also focused on getting a PFS completed within the next 12 to 18 months. We're also then going to apply for a mining lease. We see that as a real differentiator for the project, and we think we'll be able to get that within that same kind of 12 to 18 month period. So fast forward 12 to 18 months from now, we're looking to have a PFS completed, a mining lease in place. at that point, we'll obviously start to be able to have discussions with the various project financiers and then look to make a construction decision on the back of that. While we're doing all of that, we're also continuing to do a lot of metallurgical test work on the project. We're doing geotech work, hydrological work. We're doing condemnation drilling across where the heap leach pad will go. So all of those de-risking elements are things that will feed the PFS as well. So it's going to be an extremely busy 12 to 18 months. And then throughout that period, obviously with the drilling that we're doing, we'll have lots of drill results as well.
Perfect. Look, thank you for this update. I think it was really a great one. It's a straightforward decision, and I say, wow, really, that's really, really great. And I'm really surprised that the CAPEX or the initial capital costs are so low. And I think that is one of the reasons with the PEA that the share price is going up like this. And for me, it's clear. I'm a happy shareholder, as I say, and I'm hope we can going much higher.
Yep. That's our view, is that fundamental re-rate that I talk about is something that we look to see continue.
Perfekt. Ja, thank you for the update. Ja, das war ein kurzes Update, von Newcore Gold. Ich bin Aktionär, habe es schon vorher gesagt. Sie haben, wenn man sich den Aktienkurs anschaut, der ist ja wirklich explodiert. Die Gründe für die Explosion waren die PEA. Hier sieht man die Zusammenfassung der PEA, die wurde bei 1850 Goldpreis gemacht. 370 Millionen war der NPV, 58% After-Tax IRA. Also Zinsfuß, das ist unglaublich hoch. Wenn man jetzt den aktuellen Goldpreis nehmen, sind wir da bei über 600 Millionen und hier bei 96 und die Payback-Time ist knapp über ein Jahr. 106 Millionen sind nur 106 Millionen sind nur die Initial CAPEX-Kosten. All-in-Kost sind ganz niedrig, 122.000 Unzen Produktion. Was aber das Wichtigste ist, das ist nur der Oxide-Part. Der Oxide und der Transition-Part ist ein Leaching-Projekt. Aber wie wir wissen von alle anderen Projekten, die in diesem Gebiet sind, Bibiani und so weiter, Newmont-Projekt von Asante, die sind alle, die gehen ja irrsinnig tief runter und dort ist das Sulfid, aber dort muss man natürlich dann eine andere Verarbeitungsanlage bauen, die natürlich größer ist. Aber es ist ein perfekter Start, die ersten 10, 15 Jahre haben wir da genug Material, die man da bearbeiten kann und der Cashflow ist da groß genug, dass man eigentlich ein neues Projekt aufziehen kann und das dort dementsprechend auch finanzieren kann. Das Projekt selber, ja, es ist nur die ersten 75 Meter. So, the PEA, you say, the resource is only 75 meters or 75 meters? 75
yeah, the
meters.
average vertical depth of the pits that constrains our resource today.
Ja, also sie haben nur 75 Meter quasi, ist klar, da liegt auch das Oxide, ist die Pit-Konstruktion, die sie jetzt andenken und da finden sie noch viel mehr, aber wenn man sich die anderen Minen anschaut, die gehen alle das 10-fache nach unten. Dort unten ist dann wirklich das große Monster. Und ja, es schaut perfekt aus. Und für 106 Millionen, das kann auch eine kleinere Firma in dieser Größenordnung, was sie sind, finanzieren. Teil wird fremdfinanziert, Teil wird über eine Verwässerung natürlich mit einem Private Placement gemacht. Nur die Decision steht jetzt gar nicht an. Sie haben jetzt 10.000 Meter Bohrprogramm announced. Dieses 10.000 Meter Bohrprogramm soll natürlich quasi Infill-Drilling sein. Die gehen auf Oxide-Part, um das Projekt zu de-risken, aber auch auf das Sulfide, um das natürlich weiter auszubauen. Ja, ich habe dann gesagt, was ist eher eine Präferenz, das in Produktion zu bringen oder im M&A? Er sagt, ja, eher Ziel ist ganz einfach, es in Produktion zu bringen, Produktionsdecision zu machen. Und ja, wenn in der Zwischenzeit wer daherkommt und sie übernimmt, ja, dann übernimmt das. Das ist halt einfach mal so. Sie müssen halt schauen, dass den Wert des Unternehmens eigentlich steigern. Ja, Zeitzone, Zeitding, also okay, sie wollen in den nächsten 12 bis 18 Monaten eine Pre-Feasibility Study machen und eben auch die Minenlizenz machen, natürlich auch Methodologie Technologie machen und so weiter, dass sie dann in diesem Zeitraum auch eine Produktionsentscheidung machen können. Das heißt, in den nächsten 12 bis 18 Monate sollten wir hier eine haben, die ein PFS hat, eine Minenlizenz hat, Bohrergebnisse dazwischen kommen und die Metallurgie auch noch gemacht hat, und von daher schaut es dann natürlich ganz anders aus. Also ich muss ehrlicherweise sagen, sensationelle Entwicklung, die spiegelt auch der Aktienkurs wieder, und deswegen steht die Aktie dort, wo sie auch jetzt steht, und ja, man kann eigentlich zufrieden sein, und ich bin gespannt, was beim Q2 dann rauskommt, wenn die ganzen Großen die Q2-Ergebnisse haben. Er hat selber darauf eingegangen, dort wird es einen riesen Jump geben vom Ergebnis her, und das sollte dann auch den Investoren natürlich einen neuen Drive geben, dass sie in diesen Markt einsteigen. Das war ein Interview mit Luke Alexander von Newcore Gold irgendwann im Juni, wir sind nur im Juni, zweite Quartal ist quasi geschlagen, und ja, das war's eigentlich. So, tschüss und Papa, pfiat euch. Luke, thank you for your time, and good luck all with the drilling and so on, and also with all the other. But drilling is good luck is not really the right word. You know exactly what's in the ground, so it's only the question. You must drill it, I must say.
Absolutely.
Okay, have a good time, and good luck, and see us hopefully soon on some of the conferences.
That'd be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.